Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's top stories, we visit southern and eastern Taiwan to see how residents are recovering from the recent flooding. In South Africa, city volunteers are helping children who have lost their parents to AIDS by setting up food stations to provide hot meals. And we meet a devoted media volunteer in Taiwan, Xu Fengqing, who is finding time from her busy schedule to do city's work. First up in today's show, we bring you the good news that Typhoon Tianbin did not make a second landfall on the island and instead only brushed the southern tip of Taiwan. Though rain and wind had faded by the morning of August 28th, many tourists still cancelled their bookings to the popular Ziben hot springs. And in Pingtung County's Henchun, farmers who were forced to harvest their crops earlier are also feeling helpless with their loss. Though Pingtung Sandimen residents had to evacuate twice to a temporary shelter, or luckily escaped unharmed and returned home on Tuesday afternoon.
Here
at the sports stadium in Sandimen Township of Pingtung County, some of the evacuated residents are taking a nap, while others are making handicrafts.
It has been very inconvenient for us moving around like this. I have to prepare things for my grandchildren too.
We go up and down the mountain and then up again. It's not only us that's living in the mountain. We have farm animals up there too.
The return of Typhoon Tianbin forced residents who have just returned home for a day to escape once again. Having lived in a temporary shelter for nearly a week now, residents are eager to return home.
So far, DaAi Village is safe, so at 3 o'clock this afternoon, residents are able to return home. And as for villagers of the DaAi tribe, they will be able to go home before 5 p.m. as well.
Though the evacuation had caused some inconvenience, residents are just glad that the typhoon had only skirted past the southern tip of the island and that everyone is safe and sound. Over in the southernmost tip of the island of Henchun, where Typhoon Tianbin had left a trail of destruction, residents are cleaning up their homes. Trucks are carrying debris and mud in and out of the village, with drivers having lost count of how many trips they have made.
We have made a few runs already. We have lost count.
After the first landfall of Typhoon Tianbin, Henchun's harbour was covered in rubble and was only cleared out with help from the military. Though the return of the typhoon did not cause casualties, it however brought significant losses to farmers who were forced to collect their crops and fruits before harvest.
We have lost about a third of our profit. It has been quite difficult because we have had to care for our fruits every day.
Farmers had no choice but to harvest their crops like they did earlier at the end of July when Typhoon Solar hit Taiwan, none of which could be sold.
The ones damaged by the strong winds won't grow, being too small. They won't have a chance to grow.
Though the storm had passed, the farmers are on a difficult path to recovery. Sharing similar fate with Henchun's farmers are the hot spring owners in Taidong's Ziben. As the county government blocked off the bridge at 6 a.m. on August 28th as a precaution. Typhoon Tianbin only brushed by southern Taiwan, and roads will open up soon, but tourists had already cancelled their bookings.
It's actually all right for us. We're just waiting for confirmation. If possible, we would like to continue our trip.
The road to the popular tourist destination experienced a rockfall, but fortunately no one was injured. Rain and strong winds began to fade in Taidong on the morning of August 28th. However, the media continued to report on the devastation of the flood, leading many tourists to change their plans.
No one mentioned the alternative path and that only the bridge had been closed up. Seeing the news reports, tourists all cancelled their bookings. The news was exaggerated, so the cancellation rate was quite high. It's a great loss to us, and we are really helpless.
This restaurant always experiences flooding whenever it rains. The owner says the drainage pipe is the cause of his nightmare.
It floods every time it rains. The local officials never fix the roads, so we can't do business here because the drainage pipes are flooded.
Residents now have peace of mind knowing that Typhoon Tenbin had left and that they can continue on the path to recovery. Though Typhoon Tenbin only skirted past southern Taiwan, its strong winds still caused devastation in many areas, including Pingdong's Cecheng Junior High School, whose metal rooftops were damaged. As school is about to start in a few days, school authorities are coming together to clean up.
In Taiwan's Pingdong district, corrugated metal roofing were blown off by the strong winds of Typhoon Tenbin. Some of the large panels have even fallen into the school's courtyard. On the roof, the damage is evident.
A few corrugated metal rooftop panels at Cecheng Junior High School were blown here. The school was worried about it hurting students, so they called in someone to do emergency repairs.
For safety purpose, I have to cut it off first so the students can safely return to school. Cutting it in this wind is a little dangerous.
Inside the school's gymnasium, the windows and ceiling panels were not spared from the effects of the wind.
I've been at the school for 4 years, and this is the worst I've seen it. The whole roof was torn off. Last time, probably only 10 to 20 panels were damaged. This time, it's in the hundreds.
Some halls in the school are still filled with water, so a group of students come to clean up before the rest of the students return.
We are worried that the other students might slip and fall, so we are cleaning up this area. It's not tiring. I feel great that I can help out.
Tomorrow is the last day. There will be around 70 soldiers helping us out. The military has been a great help to us in the past 2 days. They have done a great job.
High winds also blew over several trees on the school grounds. With the military helping to clear away the rubbish, everyone is pitching in to prepare for the first day of school.
Moving to the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers are continuing their efforts to help flood victims. After they distributed 1,130 packs of relief items in Kasiklahan village of Rizal province, the volunteers visited the disaster area again on August 26 to hand out another 2,529 packs of aid supplies.
Upon listening to their assignments, Tzu Chi volunteers are ready to distribute aid supplies door to door in Kasilahan village. Gloria So is one of the volunteers, and she talks with the residents to better understand their needs.
I like to join volunteer work. Every time I help them, I feel happy from the bottom of my heart.
Among the volunteers, Zheng Xiuyu, the Secretary of Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in the Philippines, is also here to help.
We bring care and relief items directly to them. I believe they can feel our love deeply.
Thanks to Tzu Chi's work relief program, almost all the residents in Kasilahan village have started their life anew. When Tzu Chi volunteers visit the village this time around, a grocery shop owner, Alberto, shows them around.
The work relief program helped me to start my life anew, and my grocery shop has started to earn money again. Without such a program, I would still be worried about my life.
The wages from the work relief program has supported Alberto's life after the floods, while Mr. and Mrs. Diesel, who did not suffer as seriously, are thankful for Tzu Chi's selfless help to their people.
We thank Tzu Chi for their help. I know Tzu Chi is helping us selflessly. Though we belong to different racial groups, you're still here to help with kindness.
Today's distribution concludes Tzu Chi's disaster relief work in Kasilahan village, while the affinity created with the local residents will go on.
In In February this year, New South Wales of Australia experienced heavy rainfall, and Wagga Wagga was one area that was severely damaged. The Tzu Chi Australia chapter immediately began fundraising and also carried out aid distributions to help disaster victims. Recently, volunteers returned again to follow up on the residents.
Wagga Wagga of Australia is thriving again. It's hard to imagine that earlier this year, this area was severely damaged by a flood. Tzu Chi volunteers have returned to find disaster victims have replaced their frowns with smiles. Volunteers present them with scarves and a warm hug, while the residents reciprocate with coin bank donations.
They are great encouragement. We sincerely hope our mutual care can be continued. The donation in the bamboo bank here is more than just money, but love.
Thank you again for coming to our city today again and following up on all of the good work that you did back in March. It's very much appreciated by our community.
Thank you very much for all the help that you guys have provided. It's been so good. Like the blankets kept me warm, and it kept other people warm. Everybody said how wonderfully warm they were from the blankets, which was really good.
Volunteers also arranged for face painting and a clown act, bringing smiles to everyone's face.
Thing of where I've been involved in. I'm really proud of my children for being volunteers. Lovely.
Residents sing along to volunteers' sign language song and relates well to the lyric, "There's no one in the world I don't love." Although disasters may be unavoidable, love shines on brightly.
In South Africa, more than 1/10 of the population suffers from AIDS. Since 2001, Tzu Chi volunteers have been caring for AIDS patients in Durban, but have recently found that there's an increasing problem of orphans who are left behind after their parents' death. To help, volunteers have set up food stations in the community to provide hot meals to help these children.
Rice with some side dishes may not be much, but it could be these orphans' only meal for the day. In South Africa, Tzu Chi volunteers need to feed 5,000 AIDS orphans per day.
I think every volunteer is taking care of some neighboring orphans. Many of them are orphans because their parents died of AIDS. Usually many of them are able to live with relatives, but even then their living circumstances are not that great. So we volunteers always ask them to come and we serve them food.
In Durban's Madundube community, a new food station is opened, providing more than 150 meals a day. There's even a TV to watch DaAi TV, and the building's architecture is considered one of the most modern in the area.
There's a rainwater pool over there. It can collect water and we can use it as a water source for cleaning.
To make sure the food station operates smoothly, local volunteers sew clothes to earn extra money and even have opened up a DaAi garden to grow vegetables. Sometimes they will even have rice provided by Tzu Chi.
At the beginning, the volunteers only did things behind the scenes, but now I see how these orphans all have food to eat and have people to take care of them. This makes me really happy.
Each time the children arrive, volunteers will take note of who actually came. Doing so, the volunteers have become guardian angels for these children, helping them grow up safely.
10 years ago, the concept of food bank was introduced to Taiwan. Following, many organizations have established their own food bank. Today, we are learning about the 1919 food bank established by the Chinese Christian Relief Association.
A bag of rice and a bottle of cooking oil. These can last a family for a while.
In 2011, we started a food bank in the worst hit areas after the AA flood. After we realized that there are many needy families in various areas, not just in the indigenous tribes. Starting from this year, we spread the food bank program to cover all of Taiwan.
To help needy families around Taiwan, the Chinese Christian Relief Association established the 1911 Food Bank. The B logo symbolized the determination to bring food supplies to the poor. This building in Zhushan Township of Nantou County is the food storage location for central Taiwan. Trucks full of materials are coming in and out of the storage building. Today, volunteers are here to sort through food supplies that will be picked up by churches and given to the needy families. As the southwest weather system hit Taiwan, it has caused severe flooding in many areas. With roads cut off, the volunteers are worried that food supplies cannot get to the needy family.
Currently, there are 32 service centers that will come to pick up the food supplies. However, the service center at Lushan of Nantou County cannot make it because the roads are cut off due to poor weather conditions.
However, the problem at Lushan is only the tip of the iceberg.
Southern Taiwan was hard hit by the 610 flood. Everyone knows that they suffer from severe damage. Right now, we know that 18 to 12 service centers cannot operate because the roads are cut off.
Hit by severe weather, the distribution in southern Taiwan was cancelled. Unfortunately, southern Taiwan actually needed the food supplies more than most. In fact, 77% of the 3,089 care recipients are not low-income families. Therefore, it is hard for the government to care for these poor families. In just a year, the 1919 Food Bank has helped many needy families around Taiwan. They also found out that money is not always the best thing to give.
When we give cash to the care recipients, sometimes it is not that great because some of the families have fathers that are alcoholics and they will take the money to buy alcohol.
If it wasn't for the food from the food bank, we don't know what we would do.
Inside the kitchen, one can only see rotten vegetables. The children can only eat the leftovers in the fridge. After receiving the food supplies, their mother quickly cooks up a big pot of noodles.
My children really like the canned food given by the food bank. I haven't had the chance to try it because my children really they love it.
I have a chronic disease, so I can't work. With the food from the food bank, we don't have to worry about going hungry.
To show their love and care, in spite of the severe weather and road conditions, the volunteers still tried their best to deliver these food supplies to the poor.
In our continuing series on Tzu Chi's media volunteers, we travel to Zhanghua, Taiwan to meet Tzu Chi volunteer Xu Fengqing. Despite the responsibilities to her family and place of work, Xu Fengqing can always be found front and center at local Tzu Chi activities, where she guides others in recording the events for the sake of spreading Tzu Chi's message of love to the public.
In Zhanghua, media volunteer Xu Fengqing often writes her script in the busy office of a motorcycle repair shop.
来坐来坐。啊，螺丝爱烧完，啊烧好的时阵爱去检查者，啊看这风要够。
When customers come, I have to stop what I'm writing. After I finish with them, I can return. Afterwards, I need some time to settle my mind and reorganize my thoughts. I get a lot of phone calls and a lot of customers, which means that I'm constantly interrupted, but I work with it.
你就是要调试啊。哎，当然我帮你整好啊吼，啊。
At the beginning, since women have less strength than men, I'm often sore. But as time passed, I got used to the work. Whether repairing a bike or writing a news report, they're both hard in their own ways, as one uses the mind and the other body. People say that I can do both well, but not really. It is like what Master Jingyan says, as long as you are willing to put in the effort, nothing is difficult.
Tzu Chi helps the disadvantaged, so I think being a part of that is good. Even though the shop gets busy, I will let her go. I just do everything myself.
Even though Xu Fengqing is not trained in journalism, her reporting skills are of professional standards, and many look to her for guidance.
I have learned a lot from her. When I don't know something, I will ask her. She's very patient in teaching me.
When reporting, Xu Fengqing often pays attention to details and thinks ahead.
She's attentive to detail. Sometimes there will be things that I forgot, but she will remember.
Xu Fengqing continues to educate herself on video editing to further improve her journalism skills.
Master Jingyan said that everyone can do good deeds. I hope that each of our skills can be used in the service of beauty and kindness. My skills lie in recording events, kind of like a bodhisattva enrollment. That is the main goal I'm working towards now.
A deep thanks to all the media volunteers for letting the love shine.
In Indonesia's East Jakarta, a fire ravaged a small village in which dozens of houses were destroyed. After the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived on the scene to carry out a disaster survey and relief distribution in hopes of comforting the fire victims.
Holding her son's hand, a fire victim, Ika, is searching for anything left over after the fire which destroyed dozens of homes in this village in East Jakarta. Ika, who was unable to return home for the holidays of Idul Fitr, witnessed the devastating fire firsthand.
It's sad to have such a fire. We can't return home for the holidays because of the disaster. We're really upset. What can we do?
The fire ravaged 5,000 square meters of homes and left Ika and other victims homeless. Now they can only stay at a temporary shelter built by the government. Though the fire took away everything they had, they have not complained, but felt fortunate that their families are safe.
Thankfully, there were no casualties in the fire. What's more important is that my parents and family are safe. We can always buy things we lost, while there's nothing to exchange for people's lives.
Upon hearing the fire, Tzu Chi volunteers in Jakarta arrive on scene to survey the disaster area and distribute relief items including blankets, clothes and shoes in hopes of providing timely help to the fire victims.
We're happy to receive these relief items. They are really helpful.
With Tzu Chi's relief items, Ika finally smiles and regains the confidence and strength to move on.
At the end of our program today, we go to California of the United States, as some 30 Tzu Chi volunteers in the Orange County Tzu Chi Liaison Office regularly visits the local food bank on the third Saturday each month to help pack aid supplies. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.